So welcome to, we're in August already, the Rich Lady Revolution membership August call. And today we are talking all about podcasts and creating your podcast, or if you have one, refining your podcast so that it's running really smoothly. You can start making some money from it, and you might need to revamp it, give it a new look, give it a new energy, change your message. There's all sorts of things that can be going on here. So Diane's going to pull the PowerPoint up, and I'd love to hear from everyone in the chat if you have a podcast or not. So give me I've got one, or I want to start one. Like, where are you at? Just while Di pulls the PowerPoint up and we can get started. So as I said, I will have to jump off halfway through. I will be listening in the car because I have to take my dog to the chiropractor. Yes, there is such a thing as a dog chiropractor. And he was amazing. And the only time he had in the next 4 months that could fit me in was today, of course. So I'll be jumping off about 11:15 and I'll be listening in the car. So, but you're in good hands. So let me read this chat while Di is getting all that ready for you. So here we go. Yes, ma'am. Okay, here we'll start at the top. Morgan says no podcast with the capital YET. That's happening this month. Morgan, give us a thumbs up for that. Portia Burgess, she had one, being in the past tense, so that's going to get revamped. Amy, yes, ma'am, I do. I know, I've seen yours. Donna Foy, I don't have one. Karen, I want to start one. Haley has one. Michelle Pollitt, not yet, but you'd like one. Sarah had a podcast but put it on hold early this year, and you want to launch with a new approach. Yeah, new energy, freshness. And Paisley, I can't until all my book stuff is up and running, maybe a couple of months. Okay, well, you can take notes, Paisley. All right, I'll pass you over to the famous Diane McKendrick, who's going to run you through the content for today. Thank you, Miss McKendrick.
Hello, everybody. Apparently, I am famous. Just ask Lily, the massage lady from wherever I was last week, Melbourne. I don't know why she thought I was famous. She didn't follow me on socials, but she didn't want to take her hands off me. I was telling Sarah about it. I went back the second day and it was just so funny because I don't know, I just must be oozing this famous energy at the moment. But anyway, let's get started. I'm not famous. I'm here and I'm making a difference. I have a very powerful message. And Michelle and I work together as those sisters to get not just our message to the world, but also your message to the world. So before we get started, a few of you mentioned you feel a little bit racy. So I'm just going to invite you all to gently close down your eyes and just take a moment here to take a really beautiful, big, nice, deep breath in. Hold it at the top and then just sigh it out. Even if you're watching the recording, please join along, even if you're double timing me and breathing in again. Hold it at the top and sigh it out. And we're going to do one more breath, just like that. Breathing in, hold it at the top, and then slowly sighing it out using sound. Keeping your eyes shut, just let your shoulders drop. Feel your sit bones, also known as your ass cheeks, on the chair. And really commit to being present for the next couple of hours together. We are going to take a break in the middle, so you can go to the toilet, grab something to eat, move around. But the 2 hours to get this done usually takes people about 2 years. So if you're committing to this next 2 hours, be with me here and now. Be very present and very focused, because the reality is that beyond this 2 hours here together, you can create something that not just creates an income and brings your business and your family money. You can be getting a very powerful and important message, yours, out into the world to women and families who need it. So keeping our eyes closed, I'm going to share a little bit of my journey, and I know that you're going to have yours. Why did I write books and start podcasts? If we rewind a couple of years ago, actually a couple of decades ago, at the grand old age of 25, I had a bit of a mental breakdown, finished my corporate role, didn't know who I was, hit rock bottom, my health was suffering. I was in a world of hurt before I met Gus, before I met the kids. And I went through a massive identity crisis. where the first thought in my mind was, I can't wait to go back to bed tonight because I didn't want to do my days. Or when I'd wake up in the morning, sometimes I would just think it would be easier not to be here. And so for me, in that time, the thing that saved me was books, hard copy books, audio books, and podcasts. And I remember the moment that I was walking, listening to a podcast, hearing all these pearls of wisdom drop, things that are just my normal now. And I vowed in that moment I would be the woman to write books and start a podcast. Now, because I had the courage to start and seek support like you all are here today, not only do I have my own books, we're up to number 6, and our own podcast, season 4, 285 podcast episodes. I now have helped probably 40 women globally start theirs. I now have 40 co-authors sharing their voice, their message, their magic, their medicine with the world. So I want to anchor you into your why. Why are you here on this call? Why have you chosen us? And why is it a must that you get your podcast to the world? Because this is about more than making money. This is actually about breathing life back into people, whether it's going to be like through frameworks and data or research or whatever you do your podcast. It's going to be your essence. It's going to be your words. Sometimes you're going to stumble. Sometimes you're going to stuff it up. Sometimes it'll be shit. Other times it'll be really good. But the beauty of this is that it's all of it. It's not always perfect. It's not always streamlined. It's not always easy. It's always all of it. So I want you in this moment now feeling relaxed, present, focused, to know that if you come on this journey and this pathway with us, there is no other option other than success. And that looks up and down and roundabout. But if you continue on this journey and keep taking these steps, you will get your podcast done. You will change other people's lives. And as a result, you will monetize it. So when you're ready for that to be your reality, you can flick open your eyes and just notice how possibly you might feel a little bit different to when the call first started. Feeling really grounded and centered and ready to do things differently. So what we're going to do today is something a little bit different. I know there's loads of new people on here. Oh, it started on page 28. Skipped to page 28, did it? Okay, here we are. So very quickly, we're just going to go because there's new people joining all the time. And when I listen to people, I want to know more about them personally than I do professionally. Why should I listen to her? So this is where we take the time to go through this. I know it can get a bit monotonous for those of you who have been on here every week, especially those of you who have been with us for 4 or 5 years. You could probably say this yourself. We're just going to take 5 minutes to go through it. So me, I'm Diane McKendrick. You know who I am. I'm an ex-athlete and CEO of Overachievers Anonymous. That was me 20 years ago, probably close to the day that I just took you through on the meditation. This is me now doing what I love with who I love. I make a joke that I'm a conscious couch potato, meaning I make money by sitting on the couch. True story. Doesn't mean I sit there and do nothing all of the time, but I have designed my life and I've gone against what I've been taught by business coaches because pretty much every single one of them, bar 1 or 2, have told me, Daisy, you can't do it that way. And when I listen to my whisper, I have to do it that way because I'm a mum. My highest value, or one of my highest values, is family. I want to be here for the kids. So I had to build everything around I chose to build everything around my family. Yes, there's challenges, but I really don't want it any other way. We teach women in the Rich Lady Revolution, which was basically birthed from the podcast, the Rich Lady Revolution, how to get ding dings. Ding dings is the term we coined for money landing in your bank account while you're doing what you love with who you love. So that's me. This is Michelle.
So this is me, older sister by a couple of years, 3 years. And I am actually still a police officer. I was an ex-police officer when I got the sack about 4.5 years ago now for not getting the COVID vaccination. And the reason I didn't get it was because of these photos underneath, was because my body was covered from head to toe in this horrific rash. And I didn't get the vaccination, so ultimately I got terminated pretty quickly. It's been a hell of a ride, single mum and two kids. And this is the badge that the photo that I took when I came back in after 4.5 years. And I'd manifested this moment so many years of walking through and swiping my badge on the gates and given that smile of I'm fucking back. I'm back. So that was my first badge photo on my first day returning to the police. Just pause that, Diane, for a sec, please. And I just wanted to show you that photo because I think it's really funny and it's a really, I feel there's a lot of closure around coming back. People saying, why are you coming back? It's just, for me, it's closure and to right a wrong. How long I'm going to stay, I don't know. It's a means to an end at the moment, to just support my family and to actually get what I'm deserved in relation to, let's just say, back pay. So I'm there for a reason. We put this video in. It's the first time we've shared it. If I just want to give a bit of a trigger warning, this is shooting. If this may trigger you, I don't know people's background. You might want to turn the volume off or turn your screen off or something because it is shooting. So I know it can upset some people. So if you love shooting, turn your volume up. It's about not even a minute long, and I'm going to turn my volume up and have a listen. This is me, and I'm back.
We had one go up in the head, but the rest were good. Let's do it again. So set it up. Really good grip. See what you need to see. Give me 5 consistent ones.
We can't even hear it.
Again.
Can you not hear it?
Oh,
Oh,
I could hear him. I couldn't hear the sound.
oh, okay.
But yeah, so that's me shooting and getting qualified. And now I'm a tree hugging hippie and lifeaholic. Absolutely love my life, travel, do the thing. And together, Diane and I, we work with ambitious, driven business women, just like you ladies, to bring peace to your profit. Because ultimately, there's no point having one without the other. There's a plenty of women out there making a shit ton of money on paper anyway. Who knows what the real story is behind the scenes, but on paper, pulling in the big dollars on the top, the revenue, the top line, and multi-millions, but they're miserable and they're often unhealthy. They can't sleep. They have a very strained relationship. Not everybody, obviously, but a lot of them that we've heard have strained relationships with their partners and their kids. They have no time for themselves. They're running on absolute empty. And the amount of times I read in this book with these exact women, I'm so exhausted, I don't have it in me anymore because they've taken the profit and what we deem as success as the thing at the expense of themselves. So we're here to show you that you can have both. And there'll be some of you ladies on the call that are on the peace side where you're like happy as a pig in shit, loving your life, but you're broke. So drop in the chat now, which one are you? Are you peace, where you're like, oh yeah, look at me meditating every day, but I can't pay my bills? Or you're making a shit ton of money at the expense of something else. So drop it in the chat and then I'll pass it over to Diane, the little hottie in the rain at the Porsche day.
And if you're
Porsche
watching the
day.
recording, we'd love to hear from you. So make
Mm.
sure you let us know whether you're predominantly profit, super easy to make money, or dominantly like in peace, struggle to make the money, but feel very calm
Yeah.
and peace
So
with life.
Morgan is profit. And I must admit, we did attract mostly peace people because that was us. You attract your clients of the people that mirror you. The energy that you're putting out to the world, you're going to attract back. So we had used to be 98% of people peace, loving life, hugging everybody, broke. And now it's swung around the other way where we're getting a lot more women that are making all the big bucks at the expense of something else.
And the
So
beauty is we work with both
yeah,
because you got to have both. So if you're deep in profit, we can bring more peace to that. If you're deep in peace, we can bring more profit to that. And everything's designed from the core, from the inside out to support that transformation. So you need a starting point. You need to know whether it's easier for you just to make money or is it easier for you to be in peace. Because that's what we were finding, as Michelle said. There was loads of ladies that were really good at what they did, but barely making ends meet. And it's heartbreaking. And then on the flip side of that coin, there's other women making bank, but barely getting out of bed, neurotic, disconnected, unhealthy. They're obviously extreme examples, but you'll probably find yourself on that spectrum somewhere. People
Mm.
sharing.
Lots of overwhelm, a lot of working hard, a lot of overachieving, a lot of pushing, striving. Di didn't tell you at the start, but she was an ex-athlete, pushing, striving. All she knew was to do more, be more, work harder. And that's changed. And we're here to teach you that you can do the
Let's
same
just say
thing.
it's changing.
We're always a work in progress. Yeah,
That's
change.
it.
Look at her there hanging out on the couch sleeping. It's definitely changing. We've both still got a lot of drive in us. It's how we've been brought up to work hard. And you probably, any sort of a successful woman has that drive, but we just got to make sure the balance is there.
And you
So,
know what I realized on the weekend being around other entrepreneurs in Melbourne at the Curated Circle event? So some of these people are big earners. I was sitting next to at the BIP after party. He said, "Oh, can I share something with you?" I said, "Yeah, sure, anything." And he hadn't really been able to share it with many other people. 700,000. I just had my biggest month in business. I said, "Yeah, cool. What'd you do?" $700,000 in the month.
wow.
And he's one of the lowest income earners out of the group. And I was like, "Oh yeah, cool. How's your marriage?" "Oh shit." So
How's your
this
cash flow?
this
Shit.
is the thing, right? You can have both, and you will have both, and it's just a constant commitment. So this is me and my life and my values. Ding dings, money landing in the bank account whilst I'm doing these things. You're going to have your own version of that. So just make sure that you know what your version is. Don't use mine, don't use Michelle's, don't use your parents or other people out there. Start with knowing what lights you up, what turns you on, what do you love spending time doing. Let me know in the chat. Portia, I know what yours is. Amy, I think I know what yours is. Haley, I know what yours is. The ladies that have worked with us for a while, what do you love to do? What seems too good to be true that you could be doing this thing and set the business and the structure and the cash flow up to be receiving money while you're doing it? So that's the ding dings that we talk about. Okay, you're going to take the group photo, Michelle?
Yeah. Everyone get ready. Take your, hang on, let me get the chat out of the group photo. We don't need that. Hold on, let me start again. If you've got your camera off and you can turn it on, that'll be lovely because we like to see faces. And everybody else just give us thumbs up today. Okay, I'm going to count you down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. Thank you.
Right, let's get into it. Need to make sure I can still see the chat.
Oh my God, I'm too efficient. I've done a shortcut. Every time I say the word workshop, it puts the link in, like the whole link. I thought I was so clever, but every time I use the word workshop anywhere, it just populates with the link, and I'm like, now I'm going to swear at myself.
That's hilarious.
Mm.
Okay, let's go. Intention of this workshop. It's going the wrong way. Intention of the workshop is to Step one, if you haven't already, start your podcast to share your voice. Here, I want to talk to you about the sticky start. Some of you have heard me talk about this before. Anytime and every time you start something new, there'll be a sticky start. And sometimes people go, "Oh, that means I'm not meant to be doing it." No, that just means you're starting something new and you don't have your routines and rhythms and threshold met just yet. I can guarantee if you choose to come on this journey with us, there'll be a sticky start. There'll be some point at which you think, "I can't do this," or "this is too hard," or "it's not working," or "the text shit," or "that shit." So just remember, not just with this process, but processes in life, when you start anything, there's a sticky start. You'll see it in your life so many places now. Second intention is to ensure the structure and the strategy is set up and ready to thrive and that it's sustainable. Not that we set this up in a way that it goes boom, really good for 3 months or 6 months or even a year, and then it takes so much time, effort, and energy to maintain it. We are going to ensure through the processes that it's set up so it can thrive long term. We always talk about long-term sustainable success. Most of us are mums working from home. It needs to be set up in a way that fits into your life and lifestyle. The third intention is to make some sales. Ding dings. I want to show you how to monetize your podcast. Now, it's a bit like Pantene. It won't happen overnight, but it could, but it will happen. If you are consistent and you keep showing up, I can guarantee you just keep nipple tweaking and refining until it starts to make you money. And number 4 is to neutralize any fear or self-worth issues or challenges that arises in being seen, heard, and visible. Like I said, I've supported over 40 people globally with this to get their podcast done. The biggest 2 challenges we come up against is fear and self-worth, whether you know it or not, and tech problems. I know. How do I know? Because that's me too. I'm just a coach, so I know how to get myself through it. So what's possible? Have a look at this. This is where my podcast started. Actually, sorry, got my learners on. Rise and Shine podcast series. No music, no intro, no outro. Shit, I think I recorded the first 2, lost them somewhere on Zoom. If you check my Spotify, it actually starts at podcast 3 because I couldn't work out how to get the first 2 up. I sing, it's terrible. I stutter. That was the branding, terrible. Rise and Shine podcast. It's not about the how, it's about the now. I don't even know what that picture is, but this is what it has been birthed into today. This is the Rich Lady Revolution, the Embodied Era podcast. Can you feel the difference between these 2? I could not get to this one unless I started with this one. What a lot of you are going to try and do is start here, where I am now. This is my chapter. This is my 6th book. You might be on your 1st book. Do not compare yourself with me because I still do that to other people. And you know the saying, comparison is the thief of joy, but it just makes you feel like shit. So just start. Do something, even if it's shit, even if you don't have the brand. I didn't know anything. All I knew was how to get on Zoom and press record. And I was like, I'll work the rest out. So just do what we tell you to do. Follow the bouncing ball. Okay, the keys of the workshop. I'm going to teach you the podcast framework. This is really important because anytime you start something new, you need a starting point. You know, when you start on a challenge or you do anything, you need to know where your starting point is because I can guarantee, even if you're super successful, at some point, I do it with my trainer all the time. Oh, like Evie, it's not working. And she pulls up the photo and the metrics of where I first started and she goes, here you go. And it's not just the photo and the metrics. It's like, how are you feeling? How are you sleeping? What's your energy doing? How's your skin? I was like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe it is working. So you'll get to a point, and if you stay consistent, things keep rolling along, but you're like, oh, it's not working. It is if you follow this framework. So where are you now? You need the starting point, okay? You can see my starting point on the previous one. I've broken it down into 3, and Michelle asked you this quickly before, but I want to know. And Michelle, I want this tracked, please. Who's in the launch phase? So there's launch, lock-in, and leverage. The launch phase is between episodes 1 and 10. I consider any podcast that's got between 1 and 10 episodes, you're in launch phase. I'm going to teach and coach and guide you very differently to someone who might have 20 plus podcasts. So I had to break it up like this because we have a very big range of people from just the idea of seeing Di do it, I want to do it, to maybe some of you who are over 20, 30, 40, 50 podcasts because you did the podcast product a year ago and you stayed with it. So who's in launch? So Donna's in launch, Amy's in launch, Morgan's in launch. Good. So we've got lots of launches. Who's in lock-in? Lock-in is in episodes between 10 and 20. So the focus between episodes 10 and 20 is to create consistency, to develop systems, and to grow your audience. Because this is what I see a lot of people do wrong with their podcast. They start out and they try to monetize it straight away before their systems are in place, before their products are set, before their team is trained, and it gets too much and it burns you out. So if you're going through this process with us, even if you're starting at launch, I can guarantee probably by the end of at least this month, you may have moved into lock-in or down to the next one. I know for sure if you stay with us and keep following the process, by the time we do this again in the Rich Lady Revolution, which is our membership, you're on the membership call. If we do this again in probably 6 months, I can guarantee even if you've started, if you stayed consistent, which is easy enough to do because we provide the framework, you'll be at the next session or even beyond. So the third one is leverage. If you've got episodes 20 or more, then I'll be coaching you, teaching you, guiding you very differently to the launch phase. But even if you are in launch, I want you to hear what we're going to do in lock-in, what's important, and I want you to hear what's in leverage because I'm planting all the seeds. So even if you are in launch, by the time you get to leverage, you are ready. This is how we work, and this is why we get such great, fast, almost instant results because I'm not just coaching you in that moment for that one thing. It's very wholesome and it's like a microcosm environment where I'm just planting little seeds and then the structure and the team nurture it, the community nurture it. Likewise, if you're in leverage, you're episode 20 or more, and I know some of you are, part of your brain might be thinking, oh, I don't need to listen to launch and lock in. But let's just pause there for a moment because you do. What you're going to find is I'm going to take you back. So you get 20 podcasts, you start to monetize it. You actually goes through the same process when you up level leverage, you're making money. Then you've got to go back to the who, what, why, how, where it fits in your funnel. I'm about to take you all through this, but you need to do an audit and you actually move through launch, lock in, leverage again, but it happens quicker this time, like I said, because we've planted the seeds. So no matter where you are in this journey, this information is important. Grasp what is relevant and real for you today and let all the other stuff just absorb and land in your body. So further down the track, when I'm coaching you on the next thing, you're like, oh yeah, consciously or unconsciously, it'll just make more sense. So let's get really clear. Where's your starting point? Most of you here live on the call is, launch, launch, launch. Sarah, you're in relaunch, so I'd say you'd be in lock-in, but we'll get clear on that to give you some steps to do. And Haley, there's an acknowledgement coming up because I know 6 months ago you were in launch phase and now you've just written you're in leverage. This is how it works. We're going to talk about that in a moment.
If they haven't got one yet, but they want to, will they be in launch?
Yes.
So everyone here needs to, unless you don't want a podcast, and then I don't know what you're sitting on the call for. But if you want a podcast, then put it in the chat that you're in launch as well. Because I've got Donna, Amy, Morgan, Sarah, and Haley that's commented so far. So anyone that's missing, if I've missed your name, drop it in there.
So something you'll learn about us is we do get results very quickly, but we will hold you accountable. You're not going to sit on this call and twiddle your thumbs or look out, watch the butterflies. Like if you're here, we're going to make the best of your 2 hours. Even if you're watching this on double time, by the time you leave this call, you know exactly where you are, exactly what you got to do. Then you need to make the choice on whether you want our support to do it. Most of you will. And then we go for it. And that's how we're going to get you results. Remembering the results are about so much more than just you and your family and your message. So
You've got to wait for the arrow to turn that way, Diane.
the
See
arrow
that
to turn what
when
way?
you hover, make sure your arrow is pointing to the right. We're just learning how to use Canva, everybody. We've been on PowerPoint for a long time. See the little arrow when you hover?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have it on the right-hand side of your screen, it's probably going to be better. Yeah.
Okay, so keep it over there.
Just keep it over that way and make sure it's pointing right. Okay, so launch, lock in, and leverage. So launch, Donna Foy, Amy Davis, Morgan J, Paisley, and Michelle Paulette. Lock in will be probably Sarah, and leverage is Haley.
Yeah, so this is really good because you all know where you are now. You're all going to know where you're going. And over this next 30 days, this is why we run it like this, because I'm not just doing this for you, I'm doing it for my business as well. This is how my brain works. This is why I get so much done. So many people say to me, how the hell, looks like you're sitting on the couch or out skiing or doing whatever most of the time. How do you get so much done? Other than having a gun sister who's super organized.
That's me.
It's the way my brain works. I can lock in and I can be really focused. And that's what I'm asking of you guys this month. It's all about the podcast. If you knew this was going to work, how much commitment would you put into it? This is what I ask myself. If I knew 100% the time and effort, energy would eventually be remunerated, how would I approach this? And then I answer that and I go for it. So Launch, find your voice, build confidence, hit publish. Our most successful students have started here. The first thing you need to know is why the hell are you doing this? What is the purpose and intention of this podcast beyond you being famous, beyond you getting your voice to the world, beyond you? Why the hell are you doing it? Can you remember a time you listened to a podcast or a book and it actually changed the trajectory of your life? Because the reality is that's going to be your voice to somebody else. That's really important to remember because I can guarantee I've done this over 40 times with people. There's going to come a time, I don't want to do it. It's too hard. No one's listening. Woohoo. So you need to remember why, and you need to know that your voice, a sentence that you say, and it's not even, the quote or the thing that you think is amazing. It's the spaces in between and the offhanded comment here or there. Someone will send you a testimony and will be, oh my God, when you said that, it changed everything. But that doesn't happen every day. It does for us now, but it didn't at the beginning. It didn't for the first 2 or 3 years when no one knew who I was. No one was listening to my shit. We're looking at the data every week and I'm crying to Michelle, making data-driven decisions. Is this worth it? There's 6 people watching. Now there's 7 people watching. Oh, and then now there's 10. 2 years later, there's still only 20 people watching. I chose to keep going and I hope you do too. So, here we go. Just got to stay. I want you to also go, who is it for? What's the transformation possible when someone listens to your podcast? That is a very powerful question. It is a question most entrepreneurs skip because they call it a bit woo-woo or a bit la-di-da. I can guarantee when shit gets hard, this is the core. This is what sits at the core or underneath. You've all seen that iceberg with the iceberg at the top and then this much underneath. This is what we work with, the underneath. So the top can be created from the inside out, not the other way around. So what's the transformation possible when someone listens to your podcast? Once again, remember your moment. This is really powerful. What's beyond the podcast? What are you going to think and feel and do when you're having your sticky start moments, when the tech is shit, when you think everything's falling around and no one's listening? What are you going to do? Are you going to have a temper tantrum and throw it up in the air? Or are you going to do what I did, have a temper tantrum to Michelle, have a bit of a cry, nipple tweak, that's not working, let's try this. Never once in the last 4 years, I think 3 or 4 years I've been doing this, did I give up. Did I take a break? Yes. Did I reroute things and pivot? Yes. Never once did I think this isn't worth it or it's not working, even though it wasn't working at the time, because I was so attuned to and so friggin' locked into the moment. It saved my life. I have to keep doing this. I have to find a way. Same with the retreats. Mate, if you guys knew the behind the scenes of what was happening in our business right now in terms of logistics and moving parts, single solo parenting, I know there's plenty of you out there doing it. There is a lot happening. We've got retreats, we've got photo shoots, all the things coming up. But once again, yeah, keep going. Just keep going even when it gets hard. I know that it will. Really powerful, and this will change depending on launch. Each phase you go through this. Where does it fit in your funnel? First of all, do you all have a funnel? If not, and you're in the membership with us, there is coaching and calls on how to do that, how to set it up, how to make it long-term sustainable and fit it into your lifestyle. If not just yet, that's okay. Go watch that coaching, go watch that training. Let yourself set it up, because one of the biggest mistakes I see with people is that, oh mate, this was me and all the coaches told me and I would not listen to them. I didn't have any direction. I just had the whisper and I had a whole lot of trust. I didn't have any strategy or any structure, and I made it really hard for myself. You guys have got us leading you, so you don't need to do that. When people told me business is a numbers game, they talk about this funnel, I'd be like, not to their face, but internally I'm like, But the longer I've been in business, the more I've realized it's a blend of both, the whisper and the wounding, the profit and the peace, the spirituality and the strategy. You can't have one without the other. And if you do, it will be not in balance, and you will literally just spend your days, and maybe some of you feel like this, you literally spend your days feeling like you're chasing your tail, and you're running in the circle, running in circles. So where does it fit in your funnel? Let's get really clear about that because that's going to change the language. That's going to change the call to action. That's going to change what you talk about, how you talk about it. That one's not supposed to be there. And then you want to think about your style. I want to know from you guys here, have you listened to a podcast recently? Maybe it's been mine, maybe it's been another one. You've got to know what your style is. And the way that you choose your style is not by being coached on it. You choose the style that feels good to you when you listen to somebody else's. So for me, it's always been very conversational, not super structured, but conversational with a direction. So you guys choose one, a podcast that you've listened to that you like the style, that feels comfortable in your body, that feels organic and natural and not pushed or forced or pushy. And that's feedback I get from my podcast a lot. People say, and my books, Di, I feel like you're talking to me. That's how you want your customers to feel. And you know why? Because I am. There's a common thread amongst all of us, or most of us, particularly in our world. So as I'm talking to Morgan, as I'm talking to Sarah, Portia, Paisley, Belinda, there's a common thread. You're feeling it. So in the podcast, you want to find that common thread. You want to know the language. Yeah, you can go to the next level and get the brand strategy and the brand guidelines and all of that. But if you're just starting a podcast and you're in launch phase, unless you're a pretty established business and already got that, I wouldn't recommend doing that. That took me 5 years down the track to get that. So now I can hone in even more. But if I tried to do that at the start, I just would have got distracted by the bigness of it all. So let us know your style. Yeah, Michelle Pollitt has asked, can you change your style as you become more confident in what you're doing, delivering, and sharing? Yes, and I'll touch on this later. Because what happens is you start out in launch and your style is going to be a bit like this. My name's Diane and today I'm talking about sunshine hitting leaves. So that's usually where you start. Then you do your first 10 or your first 20 and you get some flow. We give you the process, we'll do the stuff, then you get some flow. Then by the time you're going to see it with Hayley, she's going to be the live example of this. She's gone from launch, petrified, to do this, through the lock-in, which I'm going to go through next, through to leverage. She's going to start back at launch again because we've got to audit all of this stuff I'm going through with you guys. So although Hayley's in leverage, she's listening to this because she comes full circle. This is where she starts again. Hayley, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I was just going to say, I haven't even thought about half this stuff. I've just done it. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is great.
And this is great too because Hayley come through our podcast product, right? And so as I was coaching her and guiding her through that, a lot of these seeds have been planted and she's doing it naturally. So now she's got a really good foundation to start from to go straight into monetizing. But if I had said to you, Hayley, 6 months ago, you're going to be able to monetize your podcast when you were just literally getting started, how would that have felt?
Yeah, absolutely not. I didn't even think anyone was going to listen to it. So
Yeah. Yeah. So it's so cool. So just stay and hold, guys, when it gets tough, because it will. All right. So I want you to note the amount of people out there that say, I'm gonna. How many people do you hear say, I'm gonna? I can guarantee without support and accountability, most people don't start. I've had probably 20 conversations with people about doing the podcast product in the last month or two. Out of those 20 people who actually didn't sign up and said to me, I'm going to do it on my own, how many people did it? Guess in the chat. I thought it was 0. There was actually one lady who did do it, but then she stopped. If you don't have support and accountability, particularly for something new, there is a very high, I can't remember the word, Michelle. There is a very high chance you're not going to do it. You need
Likelihood.
support. I need support. Michelle needs support. We are here to support you. So there's the launch phase. Next one is lock in. So if your episode's 10 to 20, the goal here is create consistency, to develop systems and to grow the audience. So these are for the lock-in people. Sarah, I used the photo of you here because I don't want any of you when you're in the launch phase to be interviewing people. Because you know what? You don't even know who you are yet. I want you to do the first 10 because a lot of people start and they go, I want to interview this person and this person. And you know what I've seen them do? I did it too. They'll get all these people on and they'll interview them and they won't talk about themselves. People are going to listen to your podcast because of you. Then when you get to the next phase, I interviewed Sarah. I've interviewed a couple of you on here. Then what happens? I've built credibility and authority with my following. Sarah, or whoever I interview, has credibility and authority with her following. And then we blend. Her people come and listen and meet me because I know who the F I am. My people come and meet whoever I'm interviewing because they know who they are. So even with Michelle and the book, remember the process I had to take you through, Michelle, because I wanted her to feel she's on there with me. I have 2 of my own, and then Michelle's my co-author in all the others. I had to build Michelle's identity before putting her on the front of this book because she needed to know who the F she was without me. Because me by myself, I'm a bloody force to be reckoned with. Look out, world. Michelle by herself, a force to be reckoned with. Look out, world. Us 2 together, when we're in our highest flow, okay, there ain't no words for that. So I want you to remember with your podcast, please, 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 please talk about yourself, introduce yourself, because it's not about you. It's about practicing talking about yourself. I hate talking about myself, but I also know when I go and listen to someone or watch someone speak beyond their frameworks and their visual models, I want to know who the fuck they are. I want to understand what lights them up, juices them up, turns them on. I want to know if our values are the same. So these visual models I've spent the last 16 years putting together, do they actually resonate with me? So talk about yourself. The first one, podcast, if you're in launch, should be introduction. Who the hell am I? It might be 4 or 5 minutes. Amy, I think when you did yours, the first, or maybe it was Belle, the first one was like 5 or 6 minutes. Doesn't have to be 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be an hour. You're going to build that out with your style as you continue to do it. So if we're locking in, this is the hardest thing to teach people. Feel my fists going like this. Routine, rhythm, and ritual. No one showed me how to do this. My coach actually told me, Diane, don't do it. You've got too much on 3 or 4 years ago. I said, yeah, right, mate. Did it anyway. What I did was every Monday morning, because when I had 2 kids on my own, Gus is away all the time. I'm exhausted Monday morning because I've been up breastfeeding and doing everything. 9:30 on a Monday morning, every Monday morning for a year, I think it was a year and a half, but it was definitely a year, I recorded my podcast. If I was sick, if I was on holidays, whatever. Michelle, do you remember?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Every single time. You have to pick a day and commit to it because this, once again, is about more than the podcast. What happens with our clients is the podcast becomes the pivot point. This is not just about your voice and making money. This is me as a coach teaching you to stick to a standard. This is me as a coach seeing how committed you are to doing what you say you're going to do, even when you feel like shit. This is about, I want you to write this down. This is about so much more than the podcast. You follow the process, you'll get your podcast out. I don't kill birds with stones. I do tick a lot of boxes at once. So even as you're listening to this, we're building routine, rhythm, and ritual, and you'll probably find there's a couple of other boxes ticked, and I'm not going to tell you what they are until maybe a bit later, but I can almost guarantee that Hayley's book's done. If you look at the first 12 chapters, or anyone that started their podcast with me, if you look at the first 12 podcast episodes, maybe that'd be your book. I don't know. All right. So choose a day and a time to record. Look at your calendar. I did it Monday morning because it was about showing up and preparing. The moment I sat down and did it, regardless of how I'd feel, then I'd work for the rest of the day until I had to pick the kids up. Did it with a kid on the front sometimes and a kid on the back. In my podcast, you hear them fighting, you hear them coming and vacuuming, all of it. I didn't edit anything. That's a choice you need to make. I wanted it to be real because I'm a mum working from home, and if it was too perfect, people would think they can't do it. Do your spreadsheet. So if you sign up for the podcast product, I'll tell you about that later. Choose wisely the first 1 to 12 because basically that becomes your book. Seems too easy, right? I've done it. I've taken other women through it. Transcribe it. If you do an intro and think about if I was to write a book and you put those all in your Airtable, that your book's done. Train your team, set up the structures. I didn't have a team to start, so I had to do it. So you just need to find a way. Either you keep doing it or you pay my team to do it. You got to find a way to get a podcast out every month. The online course takes you through this. Every week, fortnight, or month, you get to choose. And then make sure the systems are built into it, whether you're doing it like I had to start or you train your team to do it. Because the reason I created the online podcast product was for time poor professionals to rock up, record, and then retreat. So I'm going to tell you more about that in a bit. By the time you're in lock-in, that 10 to 20, you'll start to see referral or strategic partnerships emerging. Collaborations and sharing databases. This is where a lot of the huge value is, but don't rush to it. Just watch for it and then nipple tweak as we move on. I should have put this in all of them, and this is what I've done really well, is seeding your product. So building trust and consistency and authority. So by the time you lock in, if you've showed up every week or every month consistently, people get bored with that. This is something we've come across. We're so consistent. Let us know in the chat if you think we're pretty consistent. That's a very safe way to be. It's not great in marketing in the sense people get bored of it. They're always looking for that next dopamine hit. They stop watching our stuff. There's actually a name for it, Michelle. What was it?
Which one?
The
Boring.
habitual something or other.
I don't remember.
There's a name for it because we're so consistent. But
Did a
what I
reel on it
feel,
yesterday.
feel long term from people is a deep trust, and we trust ourselves. That's how we've built out the trust in ourselves. So you're going to continue to seed your products to build the trust, the consistency, and the authority. So I want to let you know that it can get hard here without the support. What I've noticed, maybe some of you on the call live or watching the recording have actually done this. So you get to that lock-in phase between the 10 and 20, and without support, you stagnate or stop. You don't really know where to go from here. Doesn't seem to be working. It seems like a waste of time, which is why a lot of coaches out there say podcasts are a waste of time, and they can be. But for me, I chose to listen to my whisper, which is I've got to choose things from home behind the computer that I can do in between sleeps and drop-offs and pickups, and the podcast is it for me. So it just needs to fit your life and your lifestyle, and listen to yourself, your own whisper, not others.
I want everyone to choose their day and drop it in the chat. It's not hard. Pick a day. You know your schedules. Drop it in. When starting out, what is the recommendation for frequency for a podcast?
Yeah, Amy, she says, I missed the spreadsheet and I didn't commit to the certain day. I think that's a very starting point, but there's a bit of a gap there for you when you did the podcast product, which now we've closed that gap by giving people an onboarding call with Hayley, so she directs them.
Thank you, Amy, for helping us close the gap. We used you as an example. What would have Amy needed to make this easier? So we're always learning, always growing, always improving. We listen to you, ladies. If you have feedback, Hayley's the lady to tell it to. Especially if it's harsh, it's better come in secondhand. It's not as no, but we do listen. We do listen.
If you are in the Rich Lady Revolution in the membership, you're going to have a buddy. Michelle's organized all of that. So if your buddy is on this call or you're watching the recording, you want to see what day they say they're going to get their podcast out. Can you imagine the mammoth momentum here, guys? When I'm just not doing a podcast every week, Michelle's doing one, Hayley's doing one, Portia's doing one, Amy's doing one, Sarah's doing one, Morgan's doing one, Paisley, Belinda, if you choose to, Karen, Nat, I know Nat's jumping on watching the recording. Imagine all of us every week or month go into the world. That's pretty powerful. Okay, so you got your days. Donna's going to do hers Wednesday. Right, good. Great start. All right, then we move into leverage, and you'll all get here eventually. Some will be here now. Yep, there's that. If you got 20 episodes or plus, it's time to start making some money. I didn't do it at 20 episodes. I probably did it maybe at 50. So this is when your referral partnerships are going to pop up. You're going to have shared databases. You're going to expand your audience and you're going to amplify your message. Once again, it is not about the podcast. It's about the person you become as you do this and the possibilities it creates. I'm going to share more on that in a moment. I know you probably all want a break. Oh,
Well,
God.
no, watch your arrow. Watch your arrow. Ugh.
But it depends.
Just keep it on the right. I don't know
Keep it on the
Canva
right
either.
and just
I'm
keep
just
clicking
guessing. I don't
buttons.
I don't know how to use Canva either. Just keep it on.
Okay.
To me, you got
So
to go that way or that way.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh,
Leverage. If you're in the leverage or when you get to the leverage, we need an audit. Because Haley, using you as an example, you're a very different person to when you started 20, 30 something episodes ago to who you are today. That also means that the person you're talking to may be very different. Where it fits in your funnel may be very different. So before you monetize it, we need to audit it. We need to go, is this still alive for me? Is this still relevant? So you're going to go through and go, what? Why am I doing it? Has any of that changed? When are you going to do it? Continue to pick you might, so here's an example of that. This is all about up leveling, right? Michelle and I used to do a call every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Michelle, do you remember that?
oh my
For
God.
freaking years, we had little kids. We didn't believe people would come through the day to see us. We did it for about 3 years, every single Tuesday night. And at some point when we were up leveling this, I said to Michelle, I don't want to be doing it at night, rushing kids and trying to get them into bed and screaming at them and kids
Mhm.
come, like it was just awful. But we did it because we said we were going to do it. And then one day we're like, how about we just do it at Tuesday lunchtime? That was huge for us. So you can change the time depending on what matters most to you. And by the time you get to 20 plus episodes, you're going to have some insights. This is all the shit people don't talk to you about. Most coaches go, pick a time and do the time and you show up. It doesn't matter how you feel. Da, da, da. Partly that can be true, but also it's got to fit your life and your lifestyle, especially if you're perimenopausal, pregnant, or emotionally hormone driven women, which is bloody all of us on this call, right? Even if you feel like shit, you can still show up and do it. It's easier to do that when that's at a time on your timeline. I sent Belle this week, the other Belle, a podcast I did from under the covers when I was literally having a mental breakdown about 2 years ago. That's the beauty of the podcast. Also, it's very versatile. You can take it with you wherever you go. I was away on a holiday, forgot to do it. Oh shit, it's Monday. I'd usually pre-record, but I'd forgotten. So I ripped my phone out because I'd made the commitment and I did a 20-minute podcast walking along the boardwalk. You could hear all the birds in the background and I talked about my holidays and how I do them. It was one of the highest ranking podcasts. People freaking loved it because they get bored when there's not enough, you know, change there. So audit, you want to audit it by this. So Haley, you'll be moving through what, why, when, who, where it fits in your funnel. At the start, we're just working through a lot of things. Now it's time to be a lot more intentional and focused. This is something we'll probably do this month. You want to add client testimonials or paid ads. I'm not huge on paid ads because when someone pays you, they expect something in return. This is my podcast, my direction. I don't need someone telling me how to do it because they've paid me money. So I choose not to do the paid ads, but you could depending on your industry and your business. But what I am going to start doing again, I did it maybe last year or the year before, is I took client testimonials spoken and I spliced them through my podcast. Because I can bang on to the end of the days about each of your experience, about the client testimonials, but there's something different that happens when you hear it in her voice. Something different happens when a real woman gets on and backs up what I've been saying for the last 200 and something podcasts. So Michelle, we'll do that again.
Another thing on the list. Yay!
It'll be
It
easy
was
because
very
it's done
effective.
before and the process is already there. And now
It
we've got
was
so
very
many.
effective.
Who wants to give a podcast? Here, we'll do it now. Who wants to give a testimonial on my podcast? 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Just how awesome we are. Morgan put her hand up. There you go.
Thanks, Morgan. Send us a
Portia
VM.
put her hand up. Guys, this is an opportunity. Amy put her hand up. Opportunity to come on our podcast. Guess what happens when you come on our podcast? Heaps of people see you, hear you, want to be you. If you run a business like most of you are, hi, I'm Portia Burgess. This is my business. This is what I do. This is how I can help you. This is how she's helped me. So it's putting you in front of people. Always tick the boxes, okay? This is where the referral or strategic partnerships come into play. So collaboration and sharing databases. There's a lot more I can go into here. I don't think it's of huge value in this course specifically because we've only got a few of you in leverage, but you're all going to get here. And when you get here, that 20 plus, Hayley, anyone else at the leverage, I want you to start thinking about referral partnerships or strategic partnerships. So that's basically business owners or companies who have the same client you have, but you do not compete. So where does your client hang out? So I met someone at the Curated Circle who has a skincare business. She works with mostly perimenopausal women on their skin. Well, she's not a coach, but she's got all of my clients. I've got all of her clients. So do you think that might be worth catching up and getting her on my podcast to hear what she's got to say about that? So this is where you start thinking differently and you start thinking bigger. Okay, seeding your products. I never thought this was actually possible, but I've sold retreats. I've sold the Aligned Woman Academy online packages directly through the podcast, simply just by seeding. The podcast is on retreats, how my life changed, and I'll talk about the retreats. Splice in some testimonials. Someone sends a message and says, oh, I heard your podcast on retreat. I've never met you before, but I want to come to one. That's pretty powerful. That doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. And when I worked out and did the data and the numbers, I'll go through them in a bit if the team had time to get the page up that I told them 5 minutes before the call. Okay, so now by the time you're in leverage, Hayley, once again, a really beautiful example. You've got credibility, authority. It's time to amplify and up-level the experience. So now is when I'd go to season 2 for you. Keep the name, or you can change the name if you want, but it stays on the same channel. So it's still you. You've had any branding work done, it gets up-leveled. And you call it, so you keep it all the same and call it season 2 or a different feeling, a different edge. So I'd be doing that for you this month. Once again, you need the support because sometimes it's easy to get into like Groundhog Day and you just keep doing it and doing it. This is when you need a coach or the accountability partner to look in and go, oh, you're already up to here. You've stagnated a little bit. This is when we need to nipple, tweak, and change it. Let's splice in the testimonials or let's add the new season. And this is for me, it was all been very intuitive. And if you look at my stuff, you'll notice that the podcasts are also aligned with the books and the online courses. It's been an evolving thing. And the podcast has led a lot of the time. Okay, so just some quick examples here of how this has happened, right? Michelle fought me for about 2 freaking years. She's stubborn, that one. True,
Yeah,
Michelle?
stubborn. Very stubborn.
Eventually, I twisted her arm. This is where she started. That was her first podcast after I twisted her arm for 2 years. Now, Michelle's podcast is actually better than mine. Look at this look on her face, cheeky bitch. She gets more views, she gets more looks, she gets more everything, but that's often what happens. I come through very messily aligned action. Michelle comes and cleans it up and does it way better. I'm fine with that, luckily. This is her now. Fought me, guys. Fought. Tooth and foot, whatever that saying is. She now has 74 episodes.
Wow, it's not even my main thing. It's just been something. It's a passion project for me. I'll do it when I feel like it. But now I'm ready this month to commit to do
Yeah.
it
See that little cheeky
regularly.
grin on her face? Because she
Fortnightly.
knows how much I fought for her to do this.
Mhm.
She has interviewed 64 humans from all around the world. Pete from bloody Bali and the pyramid cheese.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the most incredible, insane, amazing people. True?
Yeah, that's true.
Old mate you got coming on, the drug dealer next week or whatever.
Oh my God, yes. 5 a.m. Thursday morning, I've got to get up. He's in the States. He's written a book. He's a full heroin addict who was hanging out with the Mexican cartels. Not heroin, everything though. He was cooking up crack in the middle of a nightclub in Mexico. Crazy story. So yeah, wait for that one. Wait for that one.
Okay, so here's a key as well. I've said a couple of times it is not about the podcast, it's about the person that you become and the possibility it creates. Michelle, can you quote me? Write that down, please. It's really important.
Well,
So, what Michelle's podcast led to after twisting her arm for a couple of years to get started is the joy that you just experienced in her face. She probably never going to make any money off old mate, but the joy she experiences by interviewing him and learning about him because of the style and the thing of her podcast is freaking priceless. So there's that. And then also the podcast has led to a blog. So we now take the podcast, I've trained our team in addition with Claude to make it into a blog with all the SEOs. From there, it also often will go into a newsletter. From there, we also sell an amplification package. From there, there's money to be made, not necessarily out of the podcast, but about the person you become and the possibility it creates. So, and where it leads to, right? So another example here is Suzanne. She's not on this call. She's got COVID at the moment, the poor thing. So this is her very first podcast. And this is what it's created now. I think she's up to a couple of different seasons. She started with the podcast product I'm about to take you through. She's now got 56 episodes. Once again, similar to Haley when she first started, and maybe to say the way some of you feel, oh, can I do this with the tech? I just took her through the process. She's interviewed 26 people, and it's led to her blog, her newsletter, making money, and I went and business bridesmaid for her at one of the events. She had the podcast up because some people, in terms of lead magnet, they're not ready to come to a workshop if they don't know you, especially people in grief, the industry she's in. Or they're a little bit standoffish, but a podcast is safe. What happens when they scan the code, they listen to a podcast, they've spent several hours with her before they get on the data on her database and newsletter. They've listened to her for several hours. Then they get the newsletters that come out. They're getting support. It all started from the podcast. If she did not have that podcast, it's a very safe way for people to get to know you. So once again, that's what's possible beyond the podcast. And then I did touch on this earlier. This is Haley, and she started a couple of months ago, right? And I know when she first started, she's like really desired to do it, but didn't know how, the tech, the self-worth. This is her podcast. She's now done 34, maybe more since I did this workshop. Because she followed the process. She had accountability. She had support. We walked her through it. She's interviewed 5 people. And where did it lead to beyond the podcast? She's just started her own meditation channel, being able to send the meditations out to people and change their world. I know that was a lifelong dream for her as well. She quite likely wouldn't have just started doing the meditations, but this is what it led her to. And then you've got your blog now, Haley, too. And she's come on board with us on team, and she takes people through the onboarding process. So this could be you. In 30 days from now, in a year from now, you need to decide, good on you, Haley Paisley says, what you want to do. So I want to ask you, a year from now, so what are we, beginning of August 2027, how many podcasts do you want to have up, and how do you want it working for you in your life? What's the best case scenario in a year from now with your podcast? Have a think about it. And if you don't have the answer, sticky start, that's fine. It's just because you never thought about it before.
I'm putting mine in. And I'm going to have to run, Diane, in a few minutes.
Yep.
So if you see me disappear, that is why. But I'll be listening. Can you keep an eye when I sign back in when I'm driving? Yeah.
Okay, so Michelle said she's going to start doing them fortnightly, which means she'll have 24 done. So 24 new ones in the year. More of, more of herself talking and sharing her wisdom, because most of hers are interviews. It's easy to hide behind interviews. I'm not saying that you're doing that, Michelle. I know you probably did at the start.
Oh, I still am. Yes.
Okay. Picked it like a dirty nose. It's easy to hide behind an interview, but we've got to be really intentional depending on the level that you're at on the interviews and why. Paisley says she's getting great feedback from the people I admire, and it's monetized with a great team to run it. Yeah. Everybody take some time to come through that. And then I want you to think about, what does the podcast lead to? Beyond showing up and doing 30 or 40 minutes, maybe selling directly, what's the pathway? Because if the team got my page done,
That's me. All right.
I don't think they got it done.
I got to go. It might be a good time before you get into that content to give everyone a stretch too, though.
All
All right.
right.
See
I'll
you
stop the
later.
share.
See you in the car. I'm excited to hear the end. I might keep myself off mute and talk still. All on, what do you call it? Hands free. Because I'm a police officer and I got a sore bum. Okay, goodbye, everyone. From squats, nothing else. Bye-bye. You got this, Diane? You got host?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do.
Just double check before I leave because I don't want everyone to disappear. Okay,
I don't know how to check. Yeah, I got it.
you got it. Okay. Bye, everyone.
If she disappears, it's my fault. Oh, here we go. It worked. All right. So the team didn't have time to do this because I told them 5 seconds. Actually, what is it? It's 11:11, just as soon as I looked at the time. Let's go till 11:15. You got 4 minutes to go to the toilet, grab a drink, and then we'll come back and I'll go through this next part with you. 4 minutes. If you're watching the recording, you can just fast forward through this. Actually, I could probably even pause it. Two minutes to go. Can shake it out, put your little blankie on. Morgan says 30 episodes, regular listens, and new ones finding me. Sharing stories, helping others share theirs in terms of a funnel. They will venture into the story lounge, boom, 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 membership. Then they will listen to others, connect, and recognize they're not alone in their journey. They are inspired, motivated, and feel seen, heard, and understood. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, this is good. 1 minute. Okay, we've just gone 11:15, so I'll share the screen again. The recording's still going. This is good. And we'll go. We've just gone to talk about Haley's page. There's another page here. We'll present it, but where does it lead to? I wanted to share this because it's a little bit of data and a bit of my numbers, but I can't find where the team have done the page. So just let me read this to you because this is how you make money from it, right? And I didn't realize I'd done this until I actually looked for it. I just thought, maybe it's a waste of time. Maybe it's not good enough. Maybe all those woundings. So when I went through direct sales, where does it lead? So I want you to think about this being beyond the podcast. Direct sales, so what I've sold from podcasts that I've been able to gather the data for, because this is a hard metric to follow because you don't really know sometimes where people have come in, and sometimes it's the podcast in addition to the socials or the podcast in addition to something else. But people who had never heard of me and found me on Spotify, there's been about $40,000 worth of sales. So once again, that's only a handful of clients who have come through the podcast, found me on Spotify, signed up for whatever I was selling, and then moved on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. $40,000. That's a pretty reasonable amount in my pajamas with a kid on the front and a kid on the back at home, right? So that's direct sales. Podcast product. I created the podcast product, which I'm going to tell you guys about in a minute. There's been $30,000 worth of sales of me selling that product, helping others start their podcast. And then recently I added an amplification package, and that's fairly new. So there's only been about $5,000 made with that. That's basically, say, Sarah, if you come onto my podcast and then I sell an amplification package for $4.97, you can come on and just go on the podcast and go out organically and naturally. Or I can take you and your business and what you've told and taught us and put it into a blog, put it into a newsletter, share it on my intimate socials, and share it with my database. There's a lot of business owners that'll pay me $500 a pop for that because that's their marketing budget. And I didn't do that. Initially, I was too scared to do that because I didn't have the courage. But then I was just talking to someone in a connection meeting one day, and she said, I charge $750 for people to come on my podcast. And I was like, what I've created is pretty powerful. I could actually, if I wanted to, start charging people to come onto the podcast once you're in. So keep that in mind as well, depending on your business model and your intention and how and why you want it that way. So what's that? That's $75,000 from what the podcast has led to. Granted, that's been over a couple of years of time and I've built it out, but it's ticked so many boxes, not just making me money. Also, like I said to you, it sets the stage and the standard for the day, and it helps me come up with other products. And the most priceless thing for me in my podcast, guys, it's the first time I talk about things that then usually lands as a book or an online course. And the podcast is where I practice. The podcast is where I get on there, I have an idea, and I just spill it out. It's not perfect. It's not structured. Some of them are really actually pretty bad, but people can double time it. So it's just about getting started doing it and then continuing to do it and setting up the structure so it can be a long-term game for you. So I just wanted to share that because I was like, who am I to teach about how to make money? I don't make money because I didn't do it in the traditional sense of, people's paid ads or however else they do it. But just listen to your whisper. If you listen to your whisper and you're doing it for the right reasons, and you have the systems and structures and strategies set in place, it will work. It's only a matter of time before it does. And it's my job to help you do that. So let's share again and we'll finish strong. You guys can all see that? Yep. I'm not going to go through this because I think we spent enough time on it earlier. That's just you beginner or established. I really want to cover this because I think it's important. I want to get these things out of your head because it's very likely that many of you are thinking this because it is what we've been taught traditionally and through the patriarchy and through business. And it's just not true. So the old way will lead you to frustration, burnout, to stagnate and stop. And I've seen that happen time and time and time again, usually with the people that don't get support. And this is what they're thinking or believing. And this is what I was thinking and believing for a long time as well. You need 1 million downloads before it counts. So for it to be successful, you need like so many people. I know we all say, oh, if I've helped one person, it's worth it. And yes, that's true. But if you keep helping one person 5 years down the track, it's still worth it. But if you're not making money from it, it's not sustainable. You can't keep doing it. You can't keep running your business. So old way, 1 million downloads before it counts. Money will come from the ads or the sponsors. It has to go viral to matter, honestly. My most viral piece of content is the most random, inappropriate, useless thing ever. So it doesn't, and often sometimes if things go viral, there's a downside to that as well. It messes with all your algorithms. You got to be famous or you got to be somebody to start. You got to be somebody, you don't, just be you. Don't try be me. Don't try be Michelle. Just simply be you and use the podcast as an opportunity to get to know other versions of you. Let your aggression come out. Let your frustration come out. Let your love come out. Let your joy come out. Like practice speaking. I'm a speaker. I get paid thousands of dollars to speak. Where did I learn to speak? Reading my kids' stories at night, mostly. But on the podcast, I have spent hours. I have re-listened to every single podcast I have ever done and nipple tweaked it, refined it, listened to my pauses, listened to my pitch, my pace, where I've cut people off, all of the things. I listen to everyone. Every single time I go, I'll do that a little bit better next time. Also, every single podcast I've recorded, almost every, not maybe every, but I think after I record it, I go, oh, that was shit. Every time, almost every time, that was shit. Then I listen to it later and I go, actually, that was pretty good. Haley's nodding. You feel the same. Just put it out there. Sometimes the shit ones are the best ones because people are like, oh, yeah, you're real. Like when I bawled on the call the other day. Studio perfect or don't bother, the old way. It's got to look a certain way, and there's so many people doing podcasts these days, and they've got the perfect setup. That's all nice. And maybe one day when I'm not at home with 2 little kids, I'll get out and get in. And I have done some in a studio where I've been interviewed by other people, and it's been great, and we've got the content and it looks perfect, sounds great, but that I just can't fit. I just can't fit that into my life. It just adds another obstacle for me. It has to be easy, it has to be accessible, and it has to be done when I can do it. So get rid of that out of your head. This is the new way. So those sisters way, the new way, that's going to bring you both profit and peace. You need a long-term strategy that compounds. That's what we're building out for you today. You need a part of your own healing and freeing your voice. Like I said, the podcast is about so much more than the podcast. It's about the person that you become and the possibility it creates beyond it. It's planting seeds constantly. Every time you do a podcast and someone listens to that, you are planting seeds that are going to bloom eventually, given the right environment. We talked about sales last month or the month before, whenever it was. We did sales and we talked about the garden and the seeds. A podcast is the place where you plant all the seeds, and it can work in conjunction with other things to build the trust and credibility. So when you say, oh, my package is $2,000 a month or $500 or this or that, people have spent the time with you and you've got the credibility and authority, so they will pay you. So even if it's not coming straight from Spotify or Apple or straight from the podcast to you, I really need you to know that it's the dot in a bigger dot-to-dot picture. If you've got enough dots on that picture, people will buy from you. The podcast is a very important part of that process because every time they listen to you more and more and more, it's building trust, it's building rapport. So get as much out there as you can within reason. The messy but aligned action beats perfection and polished every single time. You can build it to eventually being perfect and polished. I can tell you the day my podcast is perfect and polished, it probably won't have the same impact that it has today here with my kids yelling and screaming and vacuuming and carrying on. So just get started. That's the key here. Get started and keep going with continuing to review it, and paves the way for one woman to step into your world, or two, or three, or four. And then you've got one or two or three or four. Guess what happens? They know people. She knows people. She knows people. She knows people. What's the easiest way for them to share your shit with their people? It's not coming to an event. I work globally with women all around the world. Amy's in Newcastle. She can't come to a lot of the events, although she makes the effort. The book launch, 19th of September. Sarah's in Melbourne. Portia's around the corner. Belinda's around the corner. Paisley's down the Gold Coast. Karen, I don't know where you live. Haley down the road. Morgan, Toowoomba, a bit far. If you all had someone that you thought might enjoy what I do, can almost guarantee the first thing you'll do is send them a podcast, or the easiest thing to do. So when you're creating your podcast, speak as though it's going to all of those people. I talk to people like I know them. Once again, people say, "Oh, I feel like you're talking to me. I feel like I know you." That's the key. You want them, by the time they're in front of you, deciding whether they're going to work with you or somebody else that does the same thing. You want them to feel seen, heard, acknowledged, and ready. So they're going to choose you. There's so many people out there doing, in all of our industries, doing similar to what we do. So it's an opportunity to connect on a level and a way beyond words. And I mentioned this earlier, it builds discipline and anchors your scheduling. Everything for those first couple of years pivoted from my podcast. Sent it to the team. They did all of their work. Still to this day, a lot of things pivot. Even the Rich Lady Revolution, the first thing we do each month in the membership is I do the podcast, because speaking about it helps me come up with the ideas. So once again, it's about far more. Okay, so just get ready. We are on the home straight. We've got 30 minutes here. This is probably the most important thing, because if you don't overcome this in your podcast, you're not going to start, or you'll start and you'll stop and you'll stagnate. I have worked out, after doing this for over 40 people, that there's two things that'll stop you. There's fear, the fear of being seen, rejected, not knowing, I don't know how to do it. It sounds like this. If you're saying to yourself, I don't know how, I'm not onboarded properly, it doesn't make sense, I can't work it out, often that's fear. Yes, sometimes that's us in our process, but we're very dedicated to listening to the clients, getting the feedback, and putting things in place to make it as streamlined as possible, right? The amount of times, oh, you know why I know this? Because I do it. Sign up to something new and you're a little bit scared or unsure. They didn't send me the email. They sent the email, it's just sitting in your box and I didn't go find it, or I didn't make it a priority. So often the fear of being seen comes out in other different ways. So watch for that. And the other one, the second one, is self-worth. The self-worth challenge sounds things like, who am I to start a podcast? Who would listen to me? What would my ex-boyfriend's cousin's mother's auntie say? You get the point. You're worried. You don't feel worthy. And so we're going to overcome these things. So I want you to know, first of all, sticky start. At some point, you're going to think one or a couple of these things, or others that I haven't touched on, but you're all going to have your journey through it, right? So this is where I want to talk to you about getting what you want. Some of you have heard this, and I'm very well aware of that. I want to let you know, every time I start something new, whether it be a new season in the podcast, a new book, a book launch, all the big stuff, I move through this process. So if you're hearing it again for the second or third or the 10th time, I do it every time. So be patient and move methodical through the boring thing that you already know, because it works. So get what you want. You know what you want. You want your podcast. You set your goal earlier. So the action plan, is it aligned? Is this your goal or somebody else's? If it's not yours and you're doing it because you think it's going to make you famous, or you think it's going to make you money, or because your parents told you to do it, or because everybody else in the industry is doing it, it's not going to be long term. It's going to cost you more than money and time to run it. So test it for alignment. So I'll have the idea I want to start my podcast, or I want to change the season, or I want to, whatever it is you want to do. And then I just shut my eyes, and you can all do it now, whether you're here live or on the recording, and just test your body. Your body will speak to you. The whisper will be like, yeah, cool, let's go. The wounding will be like, don't know how, can't do it. So literally just test for alignment. C stands for community. Can you make it about someone else? When you're making your podcast about you and the money that you're going to make and blah, 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 things like, oh, I don't know how or whatever will get in your way. When I wrote my first book, I was terrified, absolutely terrified. And this idea come in one day, and what if I stop thinking about me and the fact that I can't spell and I'm no good at this and blah, 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 and just really attuned to the woman or the family that my book or my podcast could support genuinely. And the moment I made it about her and I attuned to her energy and I connected to her, it became a must. And I had that first book done in 3 months. So the moment you make it about her, something changes and it becomes a must. So go through that. Talk about it as though it's already happened. I started telling people I was an author long before I was an author. Made me want to poo and spew at the same time because it wasn't part of my current identity. But if I wanted it to be part of my current identity, I had to practice that. So the first time you start saying to your buddies in the Rich Lady Revolution or to whoever it is, just going to check. Maybe Michelle's waiting in the room. Oh no, she's here.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good.
I can hear you.
Yep. So speak as though it's already happened. Start telling people, I got a podcast. I'm making sales from my podcast. And remember, Michelle, I used to talk about our $10,000 packages from stage. You'd be like, you can't say that. You're lying. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm manifesting. So depending on your threshold, you can be manifesting or you can be lying. I have every intention to start doing it eventually. So I found it a manifestation, but you got to choose that threshold for yourself. Start speaking about it. Use the group, use the community. You're around other people that'll cheer for you. I imagine it. Imagine it daily with all of your senses. Imagine a year from now on the call, I'm delivering on the podcast again. You'll go on season 2, season 3, season 4, and I'm using you as an example. Also, in my first book, I sat in that room in that half-day workshop with Nat Denman, shaking. My full body was shaking. I'd just been to the toilet on the way in, coming out both ends because I was so nervous. And I just had this idea in my head. I was like, a year from now, I'm going to be the testimonial she uses. Not only does she use me as a testimonial every single time now, that's how Paisley and I met, that's how Suzanne and I met, maybe a couple of others of you. She gets me in to talk to her people. She's like one of the only people she will let send emails to her database is me. It's because I sat in there shaking, imagining with all of my senses, not just having the book done. I went beyond, once again, beyond what the book was going to do because the fear was getting the book done. So imagine it with all of your senses. O is own the identity. This is something I do that most others won't. Second book is the example for this, Millionaire Mum, the best of both worlds. My business was not at $1 million. I was actually on the bones of my ass going through some of the hardest times in my life when Gus lost his job and that initiation of like, are we going to lose the house and the relationship? I thought if I write a book about this, and I was transparent and open through the whole thing, if I write a book about this, it's a bold declaration to the universe that this is the path for me. So that's a bit extreme. You don't have to go and write a book about it or go out there and do something wild and crazy. But the more bold you make that declaration, the more likely it is to happen. This is like carving out the identity. So think of something now that you could do that's a bold declaration to the universe that's slightly edgy and a little bit uncomfortable that could support you in taking the next step in the podcast. And if anyone has any ideas, let me know. So Haley says she's recorded podcasts in the tent while camping in the car at soccer training. Yep. Haley also says she's learnt so much listening back to her own podcast. That's when you know you've really made it. You listen to that and you're thinking, shit, that's good. Oh yeah, that's me. I love it.
I've done that.
So own the identity. What else? Who else? What's people going to do? Haley, you going to go to season 2? Facebook posts are good ones. Declaring it in the group. I'm going to start my podcast. We'll give you some opportunities to do that in a minute. And then, once again, this is what I do that I notice most other people do. It's not about the how, it's about the now. Most people, I don't know how. I've friggin' never known how the whole time. So I just say to myself, what do I know right now in this moment that will move me one step closer? And I set my timer and I do it for 4 minutes. 4 minutes. What do I know right now in this moment that will move me one step closer? Often it's booking something, getting something in the calendar, making a phone call, asking a question. So you guys can all do, we've got time, 4 minutes. But I'm not going to sit here if you're not doing anything. So tell me in the chat what you're going to do. Bold declaration to the universe, and then we'll give you 3 minutes to do something. And if no one drops anything in the chat, we'll move on because the 3 minutes is important. Right,
Excited to hear what everyone's going to do.
Morgan's going to write down her stories as episode ideas. So what I would say is write 1 to 12 and start, if you haven't started, 1 to just write down introduction, what's next, what's next, what's next, like book chapters. Just go 1 to 3. Actually, you got 3 minutes. Starting, it's the most important thing. And it's easy. Like you've only got 3 minutes. As long as you give yourself is as long as you're going to do. Paula's locking in the regular recording in the diary. Make sure you let you know your body when that is. Book it at a time that's very intentional for you, that's going to work for your life and lifestyle. If you're watching the recording, please stop and do this. Don't skip past it. Yep, so Sarah says she's got 20 ideas, and this happens a lot for people. I just need to record. So get the Friday recording into your calendar. Then what happens and be like, oh, it's not going to work this Friday because I've got this and that and lunch, and then I've got to pick up. Sticky start. Put it in the next Friday. Just make sure something's done. Hayley's blocking out 10 to 11 Wednesday morning for podcast. Good. Get recording times locked in for Amy. Good. Hayley, what I also want you to do, maybe you can be shortening your podcast and spending 10 or 20 minutes on the leverage. On, they say in the business, recording is in the podcast. On the podcast is looking at the strategy. On the podcast is doing the audit. On the podcast is ensuring that it's set up, processed, and taking the right direction. Paula says, I've got 61 on YouTube that I have done, ranging from 2 to 20 minutes. Can I convert them into podcast episodes as well? Yes, I would still start with the first 3 with the new fresh energy. I wouldn't put them in until at least 5. I would set the new energy first. This is me, this is who I am, and explain to people what's happening. I've had all these here. They're still relevant. So people are feeling you and your heart and your direction, and then that's coming in as content a little bit later. That's what I'd do with that. All right, Michelle Pollitt, list 1 to 3. Introduction, 2, 3. If you guys get 3 done, it gives you the structure. You're more likely to take action after this. Belinda's going to listen to everyone's podcast and start researching as I'm sitting in the fear of why and how honestly never thought this is a possibility. Perfect. The seeds of possibility are planted. You're a PT. This is great for you. Great. Help your people when you're not there. Tell them what to eat. Tell them all their problems. When you go to bed at night and you want to go get the banana bread, this is what you do instead. Yep, so Hayley has her meditations mixed in with the other episodes. Would you separate them? Yes. I didn't at the start. but then people started getting confused. So then I separated. So if you notice, we've got Rich Lady Revolution, that's season 4, which has been the iteration of everything. And then I also have those two sisters meditations. So that's where a lot of the hypnos go and the meditations. So I keep them separate, but that's up to you. And it depends once again where you are in the phases. That's working on the business. See how you're reviewing that and what's going to make it more streamlined for the person who's there. Right, cool. You've all done that. Awesome. Okay, here's your Rich Lady reminder. Bloody just press record and say something. Doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be done. Have a look at all these. This is only half, I think, of the people that we've started. I felt really proud when I looked at this page. Some people started, did 1 or 2, never did it again. Some people got up to 50, 60, had a second iteration of it. All different varying degrees. But the one thing I noticed was the moment people dropped the support, they stopped their momentum. Almost every single time. 2 people that I know to date that are still continuing to do it are the ones in my courses. And some of these people I haven't talked to for a little while, they probably are, but I just don't know. I know actually Erin is, Sarah is, I'm pretty sure Jackie is, pretty sure Nicole is. Actually, I've seen hers come up. So yeah, you need to choose. Before we get off this call, I want to know where your focus is and what's your commitment. And I'm pretty sure you'll pretty much just said that with what are you doing now. Morgan intro. Willem Beeler changed it all. A woman in a man's world. Life is fragile. Take chances. Story from a journo. I was Ross. So can you see now? So that Morgan's just put that in the chat. Is that more a possibility now, Morgan? Are you one step closer to actually pressing record and doing it? Okay, cool. So then once you've done that, it's like, how do I do it? That's just a reminder of what we just went through. Launch, lock in, leverage. You've told me in the chat what you're going to do. You're going to be checked in on your buddy. And if you're in the membership, you're going to jump on the call next Tuesday at 10 o'clock and we're going to see how you're going with that. Then I want to let you know of your 2 options. Actually, I think there's 3 for support. Do it on your own. If you're watching the recording, what we're going to do is give you access to the online course. Self-paced, you can go and do it. Almost guarantee you probably won't, but you might. Hopefully you do. Do it in community, 98% success rate with this. So let me tell you, oh, this is Jude. She's starting her podcast as well. I won't go through that today. Oh yeah, but look at that photo. That was us at Curated Circle. Look how much she's changed. This photo from this photo. It's wild. She's come in, gone through the Rich Lady Revolution, the Queen's Club, the Empress Circle. Now she's going to start her podcast with us as well. So it's time for you guys to choose. 1, go it alone. If you're going to go it alone, DM me, even if you're listening to the recording. I'll make sure you get access to... Evie's just jumped in. I'll make sure you get access to plan, produce, and launch your podcast online course. If you follow that by yourself, you'll get there eventually if you can keep the momentum and keep doing it. 2% success, run with it, DM me. Option number 2, join the membership. So that's $150, $149, the Rich Lady Revolution membership. Usually about 50% success because you're going to get group support. So that's group support. You get on the call at 10 o'clock every Tuesday. We'll answer any questions. We'll get you sorted. Self-paced online, the group coaching, step-by-step portal. Most of you on this call are in it. There's only 10 spots this month. I'm pretty sure 2 people have already signed up, so there might be 8 left. Now, that's the QR code to sign up for that, but wait, there's more. You probably wanted this. Option number 3 is done for you. So if you don't have your podcast yet, you're in launch, what you want to do is do this one. 100% success because you're doing it with customized support, individualized support. You get an onboarding call, so you get access to this plan, produce, and launch your podcast product online. You get an onboarding call with Hayley for 15 minutes to take you through everything, overcome fear, self-worth, any tech challenges. You get direct access to me for 7 days to overcome the self-worth and the fear, and I'll coach you through that. You get the tech support. My team do it all for you. You just need to get us the branding, the colors, all the things that we need to do our work. Yeah, access to the plan, as I told you, and then the calls and everything as well. This is valued at $1,500. All those other people basically paid $1,500 to do it, unless it was added as an incentive or a bonus. That's the other thing. If you've got pen and paper, write this down. You can add your podcast or anything that's created as a possibility from the podcast as an incentive or bonus. So if you've got a product that you're selling people, and you can give it. So if someone's sitting on the fence of coming to a retreat or here or there, I'm like, what extra value could I add to them that would genuinely support them? You can add it as an incentive or a bonus. So today we're going to do that for $497 if you haven't started already. We're only going to release 5 of these. We've already sold 1, so there's only 4 spots left. So if you want our support, you want our help, overcome the fear, overcome the tech challenges, have your onboarding call, get access to course. This is the one, it's $497. There's 4 spots. That's the code if you want that. For anyone that wants it, we can send it out in an email as well after. So that's just a summary of that, because you're all at different stages. If you're in the other stages and you don't need us to review it and start it for you, then keep coming to the calls. Keep committed to what you said you were going to do, because it's going to be building on top of building. And sometimes it feels like you're not really getting much traction. But if you stay every single day for the next 30 days, just do something little. And as you continue to do something little, it all adds up. And one day you'll be at 200 and something, nearly 300 podcasts, season 4. I just want to, before we finish, you guys all know about the retreats and the dates. We've got 2 spots left for August, 27th to the 30th. We've got, I think there's only 4 spots now, the Rebirth retreat in March, and a few spots left at Top Shelf. Always just like to go through that. I'm pretty sure that's the last page. So I'm going to stop the share. I want to make sure you all feel very clear on what the next step is for you, whether you need us to help set it up and go for it, whether you're in the lock-in phase, you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing, or if you're in the leverage phase, you know exactly what you're meant to be doing, because you've basically got 7 days till we're going to meet again in the Rich Lady Revolution. If you're on this call, some of you have jumped on or just come in to be on the workshop, please reach out if you want that extra support. We'll ensure that we support you to get it started. So is there any questions? Anybody? All clear? All right,
If
cool.
there's anyone that wants to give a testimonial for Diane, just stay back after the call, Di. Just stop recording and start again, and just about the workshop, because it's really useful to then sell a recording from those and also sell our next workshop. So I just wanted to throw that in too.
Okay, cool. Right, we've got 12 minutes. So before I ask for a testimonial, who here knows exactly what they're to do in the next 7 days?
Hey.
Yeah, put your Paula, Hayley, Amy, Morgan, Sarah, Evie's just jumped on. Paisley, I can't see. Karen, I can't see. Michelle, Donna. If you
Evie's coming
feel,
on my podcast. Yay, Evie.
I didn't hear what she said. Michelle,
I said,
Donna, anyone, or Karen, anyone that's listening to this, if you're in launch and you want support, let us know. Belinda, you're here. You haven't decided yet. Just keep gathering information. And when you're feeling it, you're getting to work quite closely with us and coming to the retreat as well. So we can, yeah, I feel like we just need to clear a bit off your plate before we embark on this, but it's good for you to also get the information and see what's possible. All right, cool. So everyone knows what they're going to do. Can everyone drop that at some point in the Rich Lady Revolution Facebook group so we can hold you accountable? Karen says she's doing researching. Donna says same thing. Honestly, I've got no idea where to start. That's why we're here, but have to sort other issues first. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. I use Zoom to record, and I think they use Audacity to publish or to edit it. And I don't know the rest because I set it up a couple of years ago and the team do the rest. The other thing is what I find, yeah, Haley records direct to Audacity. So in the podcast product, we publish the first 3 for you. Then you can continue to pay my team to do it, or they'll train your team to do it if you're at that stage. Okay, cool. I'm on the next call too. Morgan, see you there. All right, who would like to stay and do a testimonial for me? I'll stop the recording.